Happy Halloween, everybody. Wow. Look at Trump, man. He just got back from Asia. It's unbelievable. He just goes right out to work to see the people. I don't know about you guys. I enjoyed seeing that. That's fun for me. The man's having fun. He's spending time with Americans, hanging out with the kids. That's a good president right there. We got to enjoy him while we have him, friends. We got to enjoy him while we have him, as we are living through just an incredible time. Anyways, welcome to the show, folks. I'm Ace, going to take you through today's news, yesterday's news actually too as well, because some big things going on. I got a lot to cover tonight. No like big deep dive stories, but a lot of stories, and I think a lot of them are very interesting. I'm going to show you also some of the clips from JD Vance's spectacular performance last night. It was absolutely incredible. I shared the whole thing on my channel, but you've got to see the clips if you haven't watched the whole thing. This man will be our next president. He's incredible, and I continue to believe he is the most talented politician I've maybe ever seen. And I think he's going to just lead us into incredible things going forward after Trump. So wonderful pick by Trump having JD Vance. But anyways, please hit that like, hit that subscribe before we get going. If you love this show, if you want to watch last night's members only live, well, folks, what are you waiting for? Get in the description, hit that link. If you're on X, go to my profile. It's the pinned profile. Hit the link, get a free month of Patreon. That is all the members only lives, as well as access to the Discord group, which, by the way, the Discord group is fire right now, especially with the craziness going on in the markets. Now, we're going to talk about that tonight as well. Some weird things going on in the markets, and I still believe we are on the verge. If a couple things swing a couple ways, we could see our first market crash in 5 years and the first major lasting one since 2008. I really do think we're there, but I'm not predicting it. I'm just saying the signs are wild. So we're going to cover that tonight as well. And also, hey, Candace Owens, not good. Found some not good stuff on her today. So we're going to cover that. But if you missed last night's Members Live, we did a report, full-on deep dive on the truth about Halloween, its history, and how it relates to Christianity. So if you like stuff like that, you're going to want to get in the Members Live, because that's where I do those deep dives. Anyways, my hair's a little poofy tonight. I don't know what's going on, but that's all right. Happens sometimes right after I have a nice shower, and had a nice shower not that you guys need to know that, not that you care. Anyways, all right, let me get to the chat, say hey to some peeps, and then we're going to go right into it. By the way, like and subscribe, just as I said. Wago Waco, what's up tonight, my friend? US1 in the house. MRTKO. What's up, buddy? Shogun, he's in. We missed you, Shogun. We missed you, Shogi. Trump was in Korea this time and you weren't. What's up? Toe Cramp, what's up? William Kivamaki, let the party begin. Lucid Heart, how are you? Good to see you. Scott Volkovich, Alan Krentz, Linda Telly, Steve Bernard, Pat M, AZ Tropic in the place over on Rumble. Peter Joy, what's up? And Lochtefeld over on Rumble as well. And what is up? One Love coming in right now. Toe Cramp says last night's Members Live was very interesting. Thank you, Toe Cramp. I appreciate that. Thanks for the ringing endorsement. Nick Majors, what's up, buddy? Anyways, if you are new to the show, as always, I want you to know, please don't be afraid to get in the chat. I love to answer questions. I love to address your concerns, as long as you're respectful. No trolling in the chat, but everything else is good to go. I really do enjoy engaging, and I feel like we get a lot out of it. That's what makes us different here. And I pull upon my 25 plus years of political science, history, and theology studies and expertise, as well as a little bit of other stuff here and there. So pull it together, and that's what I do. So Alan Krent says, did I see Disney's cutting ties with YouTube? No, I didn't see that. I don't know what their ties to YouTube are. So I'd have to look into that. That's interesting though. That is very interesting if it's significant. I don't know what Disney has to do with YouTube. So anyways, we'll look into that. YouTube just announced basically they are going to let go of nearly all of their employees who will take a buyout. Now, they're not getting rid of all their employees, but they've offered it to all their employees. If you want to take a buyout, c'est la vie. We'll give you the money and you can leave. They are replacing a lot of their systems with AI. So layoffs are happening by the thousands in the last just couple days. So did they do sporting events in ESPN on YouTube? I had no idea. That's very interesting. Akira Nova, what's going on? Alan, I'll look further into that story so I can have more details on it. But for the meantime, for tonight's live, check this out. I already showed you guys Trump and them handing out candy, but look at this. Look at this decoration. I don't know if this is real or not, but if it's real, and embracing the JD Vance avatar that's been going around is so funny. So I had to share it anyways. I mean, that's Dom Luker, who usually shares real stuff, but he does troll every once in a while. Says White House Halloween decorations just got leaked to the public. I hope that's true. I highly doubt it, but it would be hilarious, wouldn't it? And JD, and he's embracing that all the time. Anyways, okay, let's get on to one of my lead stories. Trump goes nuclear. This is a big deal. I talked about this a little bit last night in the members live and just wanted to make sure we touch upon it here. Trump has announced that we are going to be starting testing nuclear weapons again. It's been a 30-year halt. And yet he says that because of what we're seeing going on in the world, we're going to pick it back up. He says the U.S. has more nuclear weapons than any other country. This was accomplished, including complete update and renovation of existing weapons during my first term because of tremendous destructive power. I hated to do it, but had no choice. Russia's second, China distant third, be even in 3 years. Because of other countries' testing programs, I've instructed the Department of War to start testing ours on an equal basis, beginning immediately. Now, this is wild. This puts out a lot of fear in the world. Okay. And it makes you wonder what is ramping up. Now, I personally believe, and you guys who've watched the show have known this for a long time, I personally believe Trump's going to keep us out of major wars. I really do. I think he's navigating it. But that doesn't mean he's a pacifist. And many people mix up the two. They think that being a non-interventionist means being a pacifist. No, they are not the same thing. Trump does believe in leading by strength. This he did on the way to meeting with President Xi of China. This is one way to just say, listen, bro, we got everything. We got the nukes. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do? Come at me, bro. Right as they're making a trade agreement. Trump, last time he met with Xi 6 years ago, is right when he bombed Syria with Tomahawk missiles as they were having dinner together. So this is a pattern. I mean, to be fair, it's only happened twice, but they've only met twice. And the odds of him doing stuff like this when they meet both times, pretty rare, I'd say. So pretty low. That's not rare. But he's definitely, this is a flex. And I also think there's a flex to Putin. It's a flex to Putin to say, listen, man, we've got to end this war. So whatever he's signaling here, it is significant because this is the kind of thing that freaks out the entire world. And I know Trump doesn't do stuff like this lightly. The question I have is if we're really going to go through with it, or if he's using it as a negotiating proposition. So we're going to have to find out where this goes. But this literally shocked everybody. This came out of nowhere. Nobody was expecting this. And I mean, I can tell you, like right now, look at this. I mean, there's old Alex run his show. Thursday Live, Trump orders U.S. nuke testing. So I'm not the only one talking about it. But, Alex is probably like, oh, that's telling it, the globalists are coming at him. And Trump is like, I can't do it anymore. Can't play nice with these people anymore. We got to go nuclear. Oh, my God. It destroys my voice when I do that. So Trump is saying, I got the red button right here, right in front of me. And if they don't back off, if the globalists don't back off, he might have to use them. I don't think he's going to use them. Trump's a good guy. He really tries to do the right thing, but sometimes he's got the bad people in his ear. And the globalists, they would love nothing more but a nuclear war, folks. They would love nothing more but the nuclear war. And it makes me so mad, I just want to rip my shirt off because, it drives me crazy because I'm Alex Jones. And I got to tell you, every other show has got to be about World War III getting ready to start, except for the one time I talked about World War IV, but I can't do that anymore because I lost track of my world wars. But anyways, people got to watch, and you got to get them scared. So they watch. So I can have my 241,000 people watching me. And that's why I have 241,000 watching on me on X, and Ace only has 21. And that's why, because, I got to talk about World War III, and Ace doesn't. That's why I got the views. Anyways, I love Alex. I love to make fun of him. I don't agree with all of his stuff. I don't agree with how he markets himself or how he keeps everybody afraid. But I do love the guy. I just do. And, what's not to love? I find that he's much better when he's an interviewee than when he's running his own show. That's how I do it. Shogun asks, I wonder if the nuke testing is influenced by... What's that? 3i Atlas alien propaganda? Just a thought. You're going to have to fill me in more on the Atlas stuff. I've only seen it. I haven't deep dived that. I generally stay away from alien stuff. I just don't believe any of it. So, I believe what Tucker Carlson and JD Vance believe, that aliens are most likely demons, not actually from other planets. So I really don't think it has anything to do with that. I think it's a flex to the globalists, to everybody, to just say, listen, guys, you guys can keep messing around. You can keep trying to pull me into war, but I'm letting you guys know that I will do whatever it takes to win this war. And what I mean is this shadow war that's going on, this Cold War III or Cold War II that's going on behind the scenes between him and this giant cabal. But he just was in Asia, and basically everybody greeted him like a king. I went over his meeting with Xi last night when they met. Xi looked like a defeated man next to Trump. Trump got all this concessions from him. We'll see if they keep up with it. I mean, China doesn't always hold to their deals, but Xi looked defeated next to Trump. He really did. And then Trump doing this. I just think this was a flex. I don't think we have to worry about anything. I don't think we have to worry about nukes being dropped. But at the same time, when you're the president of the greatest country in the world, the most powerful country in the world, it's stupid to leave cards off the table, especially when you have so much going on. So I think that had a lot to do with what's going on. What's up, Big B? Alan says, Piro Fox Business on Gutfellas asked if Trump should wear Karen gift gold crown. Oh, the Korea gift, the gold crown. He said, hell yes to the State of the Union. Oh my God. Can you imagine if he wears a crown at the State of the Union? That would be incredible. No, Akira, I'm not studying 3i Atlas. Sorry. I'm not. Listen, do you know how much research I put in this show every night? You guys see what I cover. You guys see what I'm paying attention to and how listen, not to toot my own horn, but you guys see how many predictions I make that come true. I spend a lot of time learning about what's going on in our government. And the fact that 3i Atlas hasn't really come up to me tells me it's probably more of a distraction than anything else. But, I will look into it for you guys. And maybe I'm wrong. I will. But I don't go down usually the paranormal conspiracies. I just don't. It's to me, it's usually a waste of time. Not always, but usually. I find that most of it can actually be explained by other things, and just becomes kind of a wild goose chase. And but doesn't mean I won't look into it. I have looked into others. I've looked into Project Looking Glass and several others that I just can't think of off the top of my head. So if it's that big a deal, maybe somebody can post in the Discord something good for me, and I'll try to do that. But yes, I'm busy. I'm very busy. I work a full-time job that is busy in and of itself. I raise a family of 6 kids and make sure my wife feels very loved. And then at night, I do this show, which usually, I research during the day on my breaks. So I do that. I save everything I see that comes up, and then I put it together at the end of the night. So I usually do about 2 hours of research for every show, and then I host for an hour and a half. So yeah, Drew says, been really kicking it into the gear with the content. Love it. Keep it up. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I really do. Thank you so much for saying that, Drew. If it means a lot. But just Mike reminds everybody, smash the like. Appreciate that too, Mike. But Drew, that means a lot. Really, it does. I would hate if my show sucks and nobody just is willing to tell me. So that would suck. And Trump then, he double nuked. He dropped a double NUKE today by dropping this one. Because of the fact the Democrats have gone stone cold crazy, the choice is clear. Initiate the nuclear option, get rid of the filibuster, and make America great again. Now, this is a genius post. Genius. Let me explain why. It puts pressure on the Republicans to maybe finally get rid of the filibuster, which would take guts. You guys know the filibuster is not constitutional. We are supposed to be able to pass laws by a simple majority in Congress, both in the House and the Senate. The filibuster was a rule created by people who would stand up and speak until everybody decided to go home and not vote. That was a filibuster. And you had to vote 60 people in order to stop the speech. But now, which is also a rule they've created, now because of tradition, they just decided you don't even have to do the speaking part. You just have to get 60 votes in order to get the real vote. So 60 votes to end debate, which doesn't even happen anymore. It's stupid. It's archaic, and there's no need for it. And the founding fathers didn't envision this. This is not what they wanted. They did not want a supermajority to have to vote for every law. They wanted laws to be passed by a majority. The reason the House and Senate are separate was so that they could balance each other. And then if the president was, say, a Democrat versus a Republican Congress, he could veto it. And then if it passes all that and it's still unconstitutional, then the Supreme Court can shut it down. That is the checks and balances. We do not need a filibuster. Filibuster is insane. It only gives the minority party a little bit of power. But the problem with that is that if the checks and balances are all in place and then the country decides it wants to be all one party, well, it should get what it wants. It should get what it voted for 4 years. The filibuster prevents that, at least on legal terms. And I believe that the reason the filibuster has been one of the main reasons the president has gained so much power, because the filibuster has stalled Congress so often that, Article 1 of the Constitution is Congress. They were supposed to be the most powerful, but the filibuster stops them from being the most powerful. So now the president had to step up and say, you guys never get anything done because of the stupid filibuster. So I have to do it. So the presidency has continually grown and grown and grown. And you can make an argument it's because of the filibuster rule, which is not constitutional. If the Republicans were willing to get rid of this, guess what? They could vote to get rid of the filibuster in regards to, they've already done it with judges. So now they can just vote judges in at 50 votes or with tiebreaker or 51 votes. If they do it with this, they could then actually pass a budget, not just a continuing resolution. They could pass a budget theoretically. So we want this to happen. So that's A. That's number one why it's brilliant, because it needs to go. B, the second reason it's brilliant is because the Republicans probably aren't going to do this. They don't have the stones. They don't have the cojones to do this, because it's pretty scary. Now, if they do, they prove me wrong, I'd be very, very happy. They might be able to pull it off, but I don't think so. I don't think Murkowski, Collins, Rand Paul, or McConnell would vote for it. So that would mean only 49 Republicans vote for it. It wouldn't get passed. So I don't think it'll happen. But there's a small chance it could. If it does, because Fetterman's out there saying he'd be for it. So maybe Fetterman would jump over to the Republican side. That'd be interesting. But again, if they don't pass it, which I don't expect them to, it's still brilliant, because now Trump has his social proof that he is saying, I'm on the side of doing anything it takes to get this shutdown done. So now he no longer can carry any blame for the shutdown. The Democrats will blame him no matter what, because they'll still say, you should just take what the Democrats want. Why can't you negotiate with them? That's never going to happen. They're not going to negotiate with the Democrats. Democrats are insane what they're asking for. So he still has been able to put this out there, wash his hands, and say, I'm trying, guys. I'm up for anything. You guys figure it out. And now Trump is exonerated from responsibility. It's a brilliant post, because either way, he now is in a win-win position. Let's see. Yes, get rid of the filibuster, says Nick Majors. That's right. Drew says, far from terrible. Been wondering, been having long lives. Like, dang, what time? Oh, yeah, I know. Hey, it's late. I stay up late doing these lives. Pray for me, folks. I don't get a lot of sleep. Sounds like the Talking Stick group. What's that? What's up, CA Human? Alan Grant says, are you sure we need 61 days to really do good defending the government? Sure, we need 61 days. Oh, well, Alan, I know what you're saying. I want it to reach the 61 days. Trust me, because that's when all the anything that's not deemed essential can be cut immediately, and some of it has to be cut immediately. So, yeah, I want to get there. Trust me. I'm all in with you, buddy. But there's also a political reality here. Trump, as much as we love him and as much as he's getting done, he's not king, no matter what the retards on the left say. He's not. We have a Congress that does this stuff. The Congress, you cannot, politically speaking, because, listen, most of Trump's voters are not the wealthy elites anymore. That was the Republicans in the 90s, early 2000s, 80s, going back. But now the Republicans are the party of the poor and the middle class. And this is just proven in the voting trends. So because of that, these are the people who rely the most on government's help. They do. Now, most of the public supports a government shutdown in general, at least for a time. But if you don't act like you're trying to get it open politically, it will be a killer. It will be. Eventually it'll wear down. People will start missing paychecks. People will start, the economy will start sinking, because right now the federal government's 30% of the economy. We can't fix that overnight. That's going to take time to fix. SNAP benefits won't go out. People will be outraged. Some will actually suffer. Some that do need it. There are some, and it'll overwhelm. So you have to play the political game. And because he's not king, even if Trump wants to make it to 61 days, he can't make that happen. So the only way Trump can push it is by a veto. If they pass a clean CR that's got nothing added to it and he vetoes it, it would be politically devastating for him. It just would. Only about 20% of the population would understand. If the Democrats add a bunch to it and the Republicans cave and give in to them, then he could veto it and be excused. He wouldn't suffer politically from it. He'd look principled. So you got to play the political game. Remember, Trump has to get a lot done. And this is one way to do it if we reach that 60-day mark, but there's other ways to get there as well. So would I like to see it? Absolutely. We're halfway there. So, fingers crossed, baby, we might make it. I don't see any signs of things getting fixed anytime soon. Although next week, some are theorizing that after the elections in Virginia and New Jersey, they'll finally get it done. After the SNAP benefits are gone, they'll be pushed. Who knows? We don't know. But they're not close right now. So the hope still lives. The 60-day hope still lives. And Alan agreed. I mean, one thing been exposed, SNAP benefits, 51% fraud with illegal immigrants. Absolutely. And that is, one of the great things about this shutdown is it is exposing stuff like that because people are actually paying attention, and that is getting out there with stories. So this shutdown has already been a stupendous success for Trump and the Republicans because of what it's exposed. The vast majority of people are fine without the government doing too much. That makes us feel more comfortable with cutting. B, we've seen some of the waste included. C, we've seen how Trump is willing to keep the military paid while this goes on, and exposes how the Democrats just don't seem to care about people. So those are all stupendous wins already from the shutdown. I still think there's more to come. I really do, as you guys know from watching this. So what's up, Heidi? Good to see you. It's where I'm the only one speaking because I have the stick. Oh, yes, I do. I talk with a big stick. Yep. Alan says, one thing been exposed. Oh, I already read that. Tokram says, what if the EBT crowd raises so much hell that forces MAGA to take a crap deal due to optics? It's not. Nope. It won't, because Trump they have options. I guarantee you that if this continues next week, they will find some emergency option to fund SNAP for a couple weeks, maybe get through a month. And it was already funded last month. Remember, they were able to fund stuff with the tariffs. So they got through last month. This month, they don't have the funding yet, but I'm pretty sure emergency situation, they'd figure it out. I really am. The Democrats are the ones feeling the heat from this, not the Republicans. Just remember that. So they will not give in based on SNAP. It's not going to be the Republicans who cave. The Democrats will be the ones who cave. And the reason is the Republicans already see that they're winning in the polls on this. And the momentum is all there. B, Trump owns the Republicans with an iron fist. And if they cave, it's going to be really bad for them. Really bad for them. But right now, the Republicans don't look like they're sweating at all. I don't think they will give in. Lockfeld says debt crest over 38 trillion. I know. Listen, man, the debt is an issue, but it's not one I care about that much. I'm not going to talk about it because it's so far away from being solved. We have so many other problems that have to get solved first. And once everything else is set, then the debt will start being handled. But we can't go after the debt first. It's just like, it's barely worth even talking about other than just looking at, because if everything else doesn't get fixed, fixing the debt wouldn't matter. We would just bankrupt our country just by trying to pay it off. So that's how bad things are. And you know what? The truth is that the debt is as bad as it is for us, we're still not as far as other countries are, like Japan. We're not even, I think, halfway as bad as they are with their debt to GDP. So it's definitely an issue. It's only going to get worse, but it's not as pressing an issue as so many other things. Okay. Speaking of finances, let's move on. But let's pray that maybe they'll have the guts to get rid of the filibuster, because that would be really cool. Really cool. We haven't actually passed a budget, I think, since the Newt Gingrich years, like an actual budget. I think it's been all continuing resolutions. How crazy is that? But I could be wrong about that, but I don't think I am. All right, let's jump over to one of the effects I think is coming from the shutdown. And yesterday, the Fed lowered rates by 25 BPS, and everybody was happy, except for the fact that then Powell said, we might not cut in December. We got to look at stuff. And that sent the markets spiraling. So they finished red, and the markets haven't been that happy since. Well, we might finally be heading downwards. Now, I'm going to share this post from BAM because it's just highly educational, but also what I think is happening right now with the stock market. And he says, 3 bearish similarities. I'd originally planned to go dark this week, but the persistent upside price pressure in the Dow Jones forced me to make sure anyone who cares about my forecast is crystal clear on my model's outlook looking forward. The most alarming thing about the current top formation is it combines several elements of the most dangerous periods in market history, something I've studied in detail for 30 years. So he's saying that where we're at right now, it doesn't just look like other crashes, it looks like 3 of them combined. And he says, I built my entire model off data that captured the human emotion from the entire roaring 20s advance into the 29 top through the bear that bottomed in 32. Using 1913-32 data as well as the data generated during 86 pump, blah, 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 my model predicted the 08-09 debacle in detail, predicting not only the percentage decline the time frame decline would span, but also individual sectors and stocks that led the decline. With that in mind, here are the 3 bearish similarities of current 25 top when compared to history. Bank stock debacle fall of 2008. Remember all the regional banks, we've been seeing a lot of crazy stuff. Trapdoor setup like model predicted off the 2020 top. So in other words, 2020 was completely planned. COVID and that crash in March when they shut everything down, completely planned. Everybody who studies this knows it. They can tell by how the money moved around. And BAM has been saying that the money flow right now looks like they know something's coming and they're just holding it off. In other words, just like February, the month before the crash in 2020. The banks and all the liquidity issues are starting to already enter into the zone of 2008, which back then was mortgages, and now it's basically everything. And then he talks about there's a similarity from 37 to 38, and it's as long, so I'm not going to read it all. But he talks about all the foreign policy stuff going on abroad that was very volatile. Okay, so he says all 3 of those. So there was a crash in 37, then 08 and 2020, which we've all lived through. And he's saying his model is showing that all of this is similar. All 3 of those are similar to today. So we have like a perfect storm, a perfect storm in the markets. Now, again, this is the craziest market we've ever seen. So much stuff in it's fake. Does that mean it's going to crash? No. And I constantly say that I'm not predicting it, but I am sharing the data I think is relevant. And again, I say it all the time, but kudos. I think BAM's the smartest guy out there on this stuff, not only because he studied history like a lot of other people do, but because he literally built a model around this that's been extremely accurate for the last 25 years. So I trust him. And he's just a good dude. So on top of that, Tokram says, I appreciate you replacing ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, and CNN in your daily news briefs. You're welcome, brother. You're welcome. He also asks, what's the likelihood this serves as a catalyst for margin calls on our stocks to run? Well, great question. I would say that I see it going one of 2 ways for our stocks that are heavily shorted and manipulated with the potential to blow up, whether it's DJT, Finger, GDC, M10, whatever, all these heavily shorted stocks. Either when it breaks, the market breaks, the short sellers, the hedge funds will all be sent scrambling and their algorithms will break because their algorithms are only meant to be within a certain range. If it moves too fast, the algorithms can't catch up. So that is an opportunity for major short squeezes. So that would be if the crash happens. The second opportunity would be if the crash happens and these don't absolutely pop off. Well, after the crash, there's going to be a resettling of stuff. You better believe there will be new regulation and everything because there always is after a crash. There will be all kinds of stuff going on. And in that cleanup period would be a perfect time for them to hit. I'll be honest, if none of these stocks go crazy in that time period, either one of those, then they might not happen. Like, and that's just being realistic. They might not happen. And maybe the whole thing was just so destroyed. I don't know, but I'm actually very hopeful. I don't think that's gonna. I don't want to be negative because I don't actually believe that. I believe all the data, all the everything we've seen is proof and evidence that short squeezes will occur once they lose control. But just telling you guys, those are the two windows I'm looking for. And if you don't believe me that, you know, things are finally going to happen when this, okay, I just got to tell, like, you guys know my prediction, right? That I've said that this, or it's not a prediction, it's a theory. You guys know my theory that one of the reasons for this shutdown is that Trump is okay with the market crashing now before the midterms so he can rebuild the economy on the way back. And this gives him cover so it won't get blamed on him, because you can blame it on the government shutdown. And in doing so, so many people have been like, hey, why is he not cleaning stuff up? Why is he not talking about short selling? Blah, blah, blah. Well, listen to what he said at the APEC speech in Korea just the other day.
You know, in the old days, when you announced good news, the stock market went up. You announced good news, the stock market would go up. Now when you announce good news, the stock market goes down because people say, oh, that's terrible. You're doing well, that's terrible. Interest rates will go up. So they think because of that, interest rates will go up because that. It's inverse of what it should be. We're going to go back to the way it used to be. When we announce good news, the stock markets are going to go up. You know, in the old days.
Okay, do you guys realize what he just said? He just called out the market manipulation. He just called out the short selling. He didn't say it by name, but isn't it interesting? He said that in South Korea, where they've banned naked short selling and even banned short selling for over a year to clean up their markets. You know, Trump doesn't do anything by accident. People think he just rambles like an idiot and just finds whatever he wants to talk about. No, he always has a reason for what he's saying. The dude is a genius, and it's his way of talking that people make him think is stupid. But guys, he just gave us a signal. He just gave us a signal. And I don't know what he's going to do with it. I don't know how fast they'll move on it, but I'll tell you what, this tells me that if those markets crash, he is absolutely cleaning them up. Okay? Let me play it for you one more time, because you have to listen to the language he's using. Realize he's not saying the names. He's not saying naked short selling. He's not saying market manipulation, but he is describing exactly what they do.
You know, in the old days, when you announced good news, the stock market went up. You announced good news, the stock market would go up. Now when you announce good news, the stock market goes down because people say, oh, that's terrible. You're doing well, that's terrible. Interest rates will go up. So they think because of that, interest rates will go up because that. It's inverse of what it should be. We're going to go back to the way it used to be. When we announce good news, the stock markets are going to go up. You know, in the old days.
There it is. Because he just explained market manipulation to a T. So, and guys, I'm not the only one saying this. This has been all over X. Many people sharing it. Frank Nez, who runs the blog, the news blog that covers naked short selling and news on the Wall Street trying to expose the corruption. He covered this and basically said the exact same thing I said about Trump calling out naked short selling. So just telling you, this is not me. I didn't arrive at this like just trying to make something up. Many people heard what I heard on that. So Brett asked about MMTLP. The problem with MMTLP, Brett, is that it's not trading. So a market crash will not be the catalyst for MMTLP for you guys to get paid back. MMTLP is now simply a legal matter, and that sucks. It does. It sucks. But there's literally no way to predict MMTLP getting settled. I don't know. I do believe that it's possible once they're going in to fix stuff, MMTLP, that'll be a good chance for it to get its notice again and maybe get fixed. So we can hope and pray. But again, I mean, at least Congress knows about that. So, CA Human says even she picked up when he said it. Thanks. You're learning so fast. Yeah, I love it. I love it. Yeah. See, it's not just making it up, but I mean, look at the strain we're under in our economy right now. It's not just the markets that, the markets are at all-time highs. Meanwhile, the economy is struggling. And currently 82% of the U.S. population lives in regions experiencing economic recession, highest since 2020. And that's when everything was shut down. Analysis uses a Fed Beige Book report published 8 times a year based on anecdotal information gathered from businesses, economists, market contacts from 12 Fed districts. Percentages doubled since the start of 2025. Now, why is it doubled? Well, Trump inherited an absolute mess of an economy. Absolute mess. And basically, people's credit's been running out. See, what Trump has done, wages have gone up, prices have stabilized, gas has gone down, so some things have been better. But most of his policies haven't fixed things long term yet. They're starting on the bottom because he's not trying to just inject the company, the economy, give you guys some cash. He's actually trying to rebuild it. And that's going to take time. It's going to take at least till next year, maybe 2027, till we really start seeing the results of what he's doing. But right now, we're at the end of that Biden economy, still feeling it. And Trump entered and it was still hitting. And then Trump, what did he say at the beginning of the year? Him and Bessent, we're going to have to go through some pain to get to the good stuff. Well, that's where we're going. And so in the last 20 years, only 2008, 2020 saw such a large share of country in recession. What else do these 2 years have in common, my friends? Market crashes. And yet the market right now is at all-time highs. That's usually what happens right before a crash. Meanwhile, latest Atlanta Fed estimate for real GDP growth is 3.9%. What's happening? Well, there's a whole lot of wealth entering America, and it hasn't come down to the people yet. Some of that's the investments. Some of that's the tariff revenue. Okay, but that money always comes in at the top. Now, obviously, a lot of it is also the people at the top making money. But here's the deal. That GDP number under Biden, when the rich and the wealthy, the Wall Street people were still making bank, GDP was at like 1% on the good years, except for when he first came out of COVID, which had nothing to do with him. It's like 1.5%, always under 2. Trump comes in, all this money starts coming in, 3%, 3.5%, now almost 4% for this quarter. But the people haven't felt it yet. But that money is coming in because it's investment money. It's coming in to the manufacturing. It's coming in through the tariffs. That's the sign that things will get better. That's an indicator. It's ahead of the game. So things are getting better because the money is coming into the country. The country is growing financially, but it hasn't made it down to the people yet. There's reasons for that. It takes time to start building out the jobs. It takes time for the companies to start investing in more hiring because the new year hasn't started yet. With the tax breaks, I guarantee you a lot of companies are waiting to see what's going to happen with the markets, what's going to happen with the interest rates. There's a lot going on. And Trump, I believe, is trying to stabilize. He's trying to stabilize the world out of war so that once that's all done and he knows we're not going to get sucked into anything, then he can really focus on the economy. It's already done a lot here, but there is a lot more to do. There is a lot more to do. But this is a chart, and it's getting crazy. I mean, 82% of Americans right now are technically in an area that's in recession. 82%. That's wild. That's a wild stat. So everything is starting to look like something has to break. And again, I've been saying this for 3 years. A break has to happen to be a cleanse. The market has to have the ginormous colon cleanse, baby. It's gotta be purified. It's gotta get it out. Once it's out, it can start rebuilding healthily. And after what we just saw Trump said, I think they really are going to clean stuff up. Shogun's asking, do I think market crash end of year? Listen, man, I can't predict it. I can tell you that BAM's model is saying stuff should happen soon, within weeks. So, in fact, on his post I just shared, I mean, he said this: bank stock debacle fall of 2008. Will it go? He's saying November, December for this year. That's what that means. So, if it's going to happen, I think it will happen by the end of this year. They might be able to push it to next year, but I doubt it. I think the shutdown is pushing us in that direction. But we'll see. Again, I've been wrong before on this. The market's impossible to guess. In 2023, we should have collapsed. We should have had a crash. They bailed it out. That was under Biden. The Fed was a little bit different then, but we'll see what happens. Ficus asks, not sure how relevant it is. Market's near all-time highs. How can I say market goes down on good news, or is he talking about individual stocks? Well, hold on. Let me finish. He says, furthermore, it's quite frequent I've seen market go up on bad news because it thinks the Fed will lower rates. Yeah, well, that's what he's talking about. He's saying basically what Trump's saying is that you're right that it's kind of gone up nonstop. But it's also, I mean, there's been plenty of days where something good has happened and the market's down, or especially in stocks. I think he's generalizing, obviously, but it's also true that like bad news, that one's especially true. That one's the easiest to point out, is how the bad news makes stuff go up. But yeah, in individual stocks, and Trump would know this being he's the biggest holder of DJT, they get good news and it gets attacked. So I do think Trump was generalizing something instead of getting into specifics. But yeah, the all-time high thing is totally fake. I mean, it's not fake that the numbers are there, but it's only there by manipulation. And that's what I also believe he's talking about, is that, yeah, the market's at all-time highs. But how can I show you guys this? Okay, the 82% of American recession, and yet the market's at all-time highs. You know, Trump talks a good game, and he's a salesman. So he's always positive. Okay, and that's why he'll talk very highly about the stock market even if he knows there's cracks in it, because he's always pointing to what people can get excited about, what people can have hope in. He's a master. He's a master persuader. He's brilliant at it. And he knows how to always frame everything in the right way and how to always find answers that are positive in anything. It's a gift and it's a skill. Some people think it makes him an idiot, but no, it doesn't. And that's why he's been president twice and he's kicking ass, while these guys who keep calling him an idiot keep getting proven wrong over and over again. It works, and Trump knows what he's doing. Trump's not concerned about giving us every data point. That's not who he is. That's not who we want him to be. He's a leader, and he's using everything he can to get the people pushed in the right direction. And it works. But I guarantee you, Scott Bessent, Lutnick, Trump himself, they know this is happening right now. And they also know if this is happening, the stock market being at all-time highs is fake. So that's what I'd have to say about what you mean by how relevant it is. Did I say relevant? Mike, I would always expect you to call me out on that, so thank you for that. Cassing says, doesn't take much time to make a mess. Thanks, Joe. Takes more time to clean up. Well, not just Joe. This mess has been building for 40 years. But yes, Joe greatly accelerated it. What's up, Daniel Bolio? Good to see you, man. Accelerate growth over on Rumble. What's going on? Thanks for the shout out. Glad you're watching. Appreciate you guys stopping by. Last thing to show you guys. Bam talked about the banks. Well, yeah, look at the banks. U.S. banks reserves are in free fall. The level is now the lowest in the past 5 years, which was 2020. when banks got dried out from all the people going out of business or being on pause, far below where the U.S. regional banks crisis started. Beware, banks are one of the engines of the stock market. Currently, stocks are flying high with an engine on fire. Look at that. Okay, this is crazy. This is lower than 2023 when all the banks failed and they had to bail them out with the BTFP program. So, listen, it is wild that we're at all-time highs in the stock market. Absolutely wild. When you think about everything going on, the economy struggling, 82% recession, bank reserves low like this, credit delinquencies, all-time highs. I mean, how? It's a bubble. It's a bubble. I mean, so crazy things happening. Eventually you got to pay the piper on this one. There's, as fake as it is, without the government pushing nonstop. And remember, our national debt by year, by percentage by year, the overall national debt's still climbing. So don't mishear me when I say this. But our budget, what we've been spending year over year, is down. Scott Bessent shared that last week. Okay, because we're not pumping anymore. We're not propping up the economy by giving people fake jobs anymore. It's that spending is down. Well, when a fake market loses its ability to stay fake because its sugar daddy isn't paying out anymore, and everything out there, all the actual what's the word I'm looking for? Everything that's actually a solid foundation is breaking. Well, eventually the house of cards falls down, and it looks like we're really close. Accelerate says, I think the Nunes press release mentioning SEC, BOA, what they knew, and what cues up the spotlight for financial corruption across the board. Oh, yeah, for sure. Nunes is on it, I believe. Brett Montgomery, what's up, buddy? Says like and subscribe. Thank you, friend. Please like, please subscribe. Follow if you're on X. I appreciate you guys for watching. Still got more to go. Don't worry, show's not over yet. Gary M, what's up? Fro Girl's here. Derek Martin says, Johnny Depp, imagine our love. Wait, what? What? Johnny Depp, imagine our love, ribs, 200 kilograms lamb to one bag. No, I have no idea what you're saying, Derek, but I'm sure it's hilarious. Just over my head. Sorry. Okay. Real quick. So I'm going to do the JD clips in a minute, but first I want to show you guys, Candace. Let's move on to Candace real quick. I'm going to do this fast because I don't like spending a lot of time on Candace, but I also got to point this stuff out. Okay. So Candace Owens today is now claiming that Charlie Kirk was secretly Catholic. Okay. Secretly Catholic. That's a wild thing to say. She's saying that his funeral mass was the live funeral or memorial service they had was actually a Catholic mass, and I don't even know what to do with her anymore. I mean, this is the kind of thing that you go from saying, hey, I have something that might be interesting about his death, causing some doubts, causing some questions to come up, might be slightly relevant. And then now the lies are coming out. And you know why? Because she's running out of stuff to say. So yesterday it was, I cried for weeks, couldn't come on my show for weeks after Charlie died. She was on 6 days later. And today it's that he was secretly Catholic. This isn't good. This isn't helpful. And just makes me a little sick, to be honest, that she's doing Charlie dirty like this. But we got to call it out because lots of influencers are going to pick up on this. The Candace Owens of the world, the Nick Fuenteses, Ian Carroll's. They're just crazy stuff. So, and then we got this story. Now, a lot of people were going around with this story the other day, including Candace, including Alex. Oh no, don't tell me my story was a lie. Guys, no, my stories are never lies. I just, I have I have sources that are deeper than the deepers, and so actually my story is truth. But things change. Things change. And so what I reported, it was true, but it's not now. His revelation, late September, Kash Patel blocked Tulsi Gabbard from investigating foreign or domestic accomplishments. What they're trying to say here is that Kash Patel blocked the FBI from investigating Israel because they all want us to believe Israel did it. Well, and Daily Mail shared it. Kash Patel shuts down Charlie Kirk intelligence. And now we're getting the actual source from within the FBI. This is false. Comprehensive FBI investigation is still ongoing. Director Patel, Deputy Bongino have instructed investigators to pursue every lead. So, you go right to the source, you get something different. So this has just been a lie that's been being parroted around. When I first heard it, I said, that can't be true. But I didn't have anything refuting it. And I was like, I don't really trust the people saying it. And now we have an official source, as MJ reports it. This is fake news per the Assistant Director of Public Affairs for the FBI. Originally, it came from the New York Times per anonymous sources. So there you go, guys. Listen, if you don't watch the show for any other reason, I'm going to give you one tip for the rest of your life when you read. If they say anonymous sources, it's wrong 9 times out of 10. It's a lie made up by somebody who just wants to get a story out to create a narrative. So there you go. And yes, I know a lot of people are like, well, Watergate, what about Deep Throat? Yeah, it was all a lie. Watergate was, anyways, we'll get into that another time, but Nixon was framed, yo. Nixon was framed. And so why is Candace doing this? Well, I found a really big reason today, or at least this person did. This month alone, Candace Owens has pocketed $130,000 from just Super Chats. Super Chats are when you guys just send me $5. Okay? I maybe get, I don't know, $30 to $100 in Super Chats a month. Candace Owens got $130,000 in Super Chats last month, where all she talked about was Charlie Kirk conspiracies. This girl is living it up. And that doesn't even count what she's making off anything else. I don't know if she's got a membership, but she might have, the ad revenue for, say, every million views is about $10,000. She's probably done, I don't know, 40 million views. So that's another 40 grand. So I could easily see her making $200,000, $200,000 from her content just last month. And that doesn't include donations on the side, guest appearances on shows, whatever. So this girl she's making that moolah touting this Charlie stuff. Just saying, just point it out. You guys decide what you want about it. Alan says there's a lot of vehicle loans by secondary banks being stuck on bad loans. Oh, absolutely. The illegal aliens also are leaving right now. Yeah, see a human. Well, a lot of Catholics would say they're born again. He was an evangelical. He identifies evangelical. Brett says like and subscribe. Brett, I did see your email about CalPERS. I don't think I saw one about CalPERS. I saw the Mark Levin one. I didn't see a CalPERS. So Alan says YouTube's cutting my revenue. Yeah, probably. They're going after one of their golden gooses here in Candace. Not smart on my side. Okay, anyways, I don't want to stay on Candace. It bugs me, but I have to call it out because I don't want anybody getting sucked into this stuff. I really don't. Okay, let's move on to JD. I want to share these clips from JD Vance last night because honestly, I think it was one of the most impressive things I've ever seen a politician do. It's one thing for Tucker Carlson. It's one thing. I always stop on a bad Candace face. Did I again? I do. Anyways, it's one thing for Tucker Carlson to go out there and debate in front of everybody. He's used to the camera. He's been in broadcasting his entire life. He's just good with words. When politicians get in front of people, if they do like a town hall, usually they know the questions beforehand and they know who they're going to call beforehand. So they have a little time. Not always. Sometimes they do it legit. Like Trump will do it legit. But it's still not like this where it's so antagonistic. Usually it'll be a mix of who's in that town hall. But JD went into the lion's den with college students, and what he did, the way he handled this, is so impressive. I'll be shocked if he's not our next president, honestly. This guy is he's the real deal. Again, I think he's the most talented guy, politician since Obama. And since JD has the truth on his side, it's going to go even better for him. But anyways, asked about Christianity. Watch this exchange last night. I'm going to play a couple of these clips.
I'm thrilled to hear you articulate Christian values on a stage like this and to remind us that things we take for granted and things we value so much have a Christian origin. So thank you for that. I really mean that. However,
so much of liberalism, by the way, so much of the far left is a sort of, if you really pay attention to it, it's a kind of perverted version of Christianity. Like, there's nothing wrong, of course, with focusing on people who are disenfranchised, for example. That's the focus of liberalism. But if you completely separate it from any religious duty, any civic virtue, then that can actually become, for example, an inducement to lawlessness. You can't just have compassion for the criminal, you also have to have justice too, which is why I think that a properly rooted Christian moral order is such an important part of the future of our country. But sorry, I interrupted you, go ahead.
No, I am.
Such an unbelievably brilliant answer. I'm like, it's shocking how good that answer was. And what an absolute amazing defense of Christianity as well. And he goes on. I mean, it's I'm gonna play more, as I just couldn't get enough of this last night. I'm so impressed by him.
Christian values out there that I think that we've just sort of assumed.
Sorry about the sound, guys.
Taken for granted. Christian values are the idea that you should respect every single person as an individual, whatever the color of their skin, created in the image of God. That's a Christian concept. And in fact, it was a Christian empire, Great Britain, that abolished slavery to begin with. The idea that we should eliminate child sacrifice. What did the Christian settlers find when they came to the New World? They found a lot of civilizations that were murdering babies in weird religious rituals. It was Christianity that said we don't kill children just because they're somehow inconvenient to people. A lot of the things, human rights, the very idea that human beings have rights are a Christian concept. And so I'd ask you, my assumption based on the question is that you're skeptical of Christianity, or at least of certain public professions of Christianity. One of my favorite Bible verses is, "By your fruits ye shall know them." And I think that the fruits of the Christian faith are the most moral, the most just, and the most prosperous civilization in history. I make no apologies for believing that Christianity is the pathway to God. I make no apologies for thinking that Christian values are an important foundation of this country, but I'm not going to force you to believe in anything, because that's not what God wants, and that's not what I want either.
Again, just so good. I do apologize for the sound on that one. It was very low. But I mean, this is the man, like, so, what sound, says Alan? It was really low on that. I am sorry. Trump is, he's got his own persuasion. He's brilliant. Okay. He just is. JD is the guy who's going to be able to, just articulate everything so wonderfully. And he's also got Whereas Trump comes in, Trump's a pragmatist. It's just like whatever's going to work to win, I'm going to do. And over time, he's gotten some more values that I believe he's gotten. I do believe Trump has a Christian faith now, and especially after the shot, he's talked about it. And then he's built a cabinet that's very strongly Christian. So I don't see Trump is, people are like, Trump's not a Christian. He just uses them. No, sorry. You don't build true believers around yourself like this unless you are. But JD is like so much conviction, and he speaks with it. There's no messing around with the answers. There's no trying to get away from the hard answer. He just goes for it, and he communicates it so well. And this guy is going to, again, I've said this for the last year. I truly believe that Trump is here to bring the country justice. Trump is here to break the systems that have basically held us back, enslaved us, ruined our country. Trump is the great breaker and the great, like, he's the one who is laying a new foundation. He's setting us free, all that stuff. And I do think he's doing it very well. I think he's incredible. I mean, he's going to go down in history as the great president along with Lincoln and Washington. I truly believe that. But JD is going to be special, and JD might not get the recognition Trump does, but I think JD he's a builder. He's young. He understands like where the country's going. He has values even stronger than Trump, and he articulates so well. I think he's going to be able to unite, at least bring people more together than Trump could. And that's not a knock on Trump. Trump's being used for what he needs to do. But you listen to how JD speaks, and he's going to win over a lot of people. And I think he'll win in a bigger landslide than Trump ever would. Because Trump, what makes him powerful is also what makes him abrasive. And so he turns off some otherwise good people who just can't get over his style, which I think is stupid, but people do that. JD doesn't have that issue. And I'm just so incredibly impressed by him. And I wanted to play two more answers he gave. This one is excellent. He's asked about using the power of the presidency with like the National Guard, maybe even the legal system. I can't remember if that comes up. But the point is the kid's asking, aren't you afraid that if you guys do this, the next time Democrats get in or whatever, will use it against us? And how JD answers this is just so perfect.
I'm just wondering, well, it's not necessarily something you did wrong, but it's what could someone else do wrong? Let's say we get a complete tyrant in office, and let's say Turning Point USA is having a huge protest against something really bad that we don't like, and let's say he's a president is saying that it's getting violent. How can we? I'm trying to think. My mind's kind of blank. What is the difference between what you're doing and how could we prevent someone from abusing that power?
Yeah. So look, I understand where the question is coming from, and I think it's a fair question. And it's going to sound like I'm being sarcastic, and it really is not meant in any offense. But when you talk about what could another administration do, to take a wild, hypothetical example totally off the top of my head, what if Joe Biden sent the Federal Bureau of Investigation to start arresting his political opponents? Okay? So here's something that I want every conservative to remember. It's an important part of my entire political philosophy is we cannot be afraid to do something because the left might do it in the future. The left is already going to do it regardless of whether we do it. That is the takeaway of the last 40 years.
So good. So good. And the perfect answer. Absolutely perfect. I mean, he's so right. Like, they've already been doing it. And so many politicians would be scared to say that. What? No sound? Was there no sound on that one? I show sound. It's just low, guys. I'm sorry. Do I need to play it again? If I do, I will. I'm sorry. The sound has been a little low on these clips, but maybe the next one will be better. So I can't control what people post to X when I share these clips. Sorry, guys. But what he said is that you can't be afraid. Okay, you can't be afraid of not doing something because the next administration might abuse it, and that's exactly how you got to think. And I mentioned this a couple nights ago when I was talking about Lincoln. With Abraham Lincoln, there was, he suspended habeas corpus. Well, guess what? No other president's done that. So he didn't set a precedent other presidents would do. There's all kinds of examples of that as well. So again, yeah, just turn up okay. So, Alan real quick says, I saw a Bible explaining 666 English, got it wrong. Greek, look around, mark on their foreheads. Hamas headbands have the symbols. Interesting. No, it's not interesting. Sorry, Alan. I mean, it's interesting. I'm sorry. That was dismissive. It's interesting in a way, and there are symbols on. You're right about the Greek. 666 is how it would be interpreted. Those symbols in Hebrew. Or even 616, but nobody ever talks about that because it doesn't line up as well. But if you look into that, there's much more meaning behind that. 666 actually spells out something, and depending on how you break it down, but the numerology basically says Nero. So. But anyways, I've covered that in some of my Bible videos. I don't think Hamas, Mark of the Beast, I don't think there's anything there. But yes, it could be interesting if they line up. Can I imagine Gavin Newsom giving an answer to that question? No, Gavin, that's the thing I'm saying, man, is like, this is, it was a master class. And I highly recommend, if you guys have the time, to watch the whole thing, because he is so well spoken. He takes these very difficult questions. Some of the other questions are very difficult. And the way he just goes through them, like he gives an answer on Israel that's so good about this administration. And then he gives this answer too, which I shared this last night on my members live, and I needed to share it again because, we've talked about this, but JD Vance there's a whole right-wing contingent that is like conspiracy contingent that believes JD Vance is a Manchurian candidate, that he was raised by Peter Thiel to basically get into the government and bring in a technocracy and let the people in Silicon Valley basically run us and ruin our country and enslave us and bring in CBDCs and all this crazy stuff. And I've told you guys why I don't believe it. There's just no evidence at all. The only evidence is that he came in, he worked for Peter Thiel, and then Peter Thiel donated to his campaign. That's the evidence that JD Vance is this technocrat guy, Manchurian candidate, even though he was raised in the Appalachian Mountains by parents who are drug addicts. He had a horrible upbringing. It's a miracle he made it to where he is. He served in the military, and then got into politics as a populist, and hated Trump. And Peter Thiel endorsed Trump in 2016, way before. Okay. So there's no reason to believe Peter Thiel's trying to undercut Trump at all. And there's certainly no reason to think JD Vance is any control by that. Okay. But he's asked about it, and I love that he answers it. Okay. He's going to answer it here. And, I think he just gives a wonderful, answer. And I think it's so important that, this is out there.
Hello, Vice President Vance.
How you doing?
Sorry about the sound again, guys.
Do you condone large private corporations such as Palantir hoarding data caches on U.S. citizens?
No, I don't condone it. And here's the thing. So I get asked about Palantir a lot because there's this internet meme out there that somehow I am super in bed with Palantir. And here's the thing that I'd say about this.
U.S. citizens?
No, I don't condone it. And here's the thing. So I get asked about Palantir a lot because there's this internet meme out there that somehow I am super in bed with Palantir. And here's the thing that I'd say about this. Palantir is a private company. They sometimes do a useful service, and sometimes they're going to do things that we don't like. You should be demanding that your representatives do two things when it comes to Palantir or when it comes to any other technology company. Number one, protecting your data. What's going on with artificial intelligence is going to mean that there are massive inducements to steal your data, to harvest it, and to use it against you to sell digital advertisements. That is not what I believe in, and I've been fighting against it, whether it's Palantir or any other technology company, literally before I ran for office. When I ran for office, I was criticized by Republicans in my Republican Senate primary because I was talking then about Google and Facebook harvesting our data. It's unacceptable. I don't care who does it. I don't want them to do it. Number two, and this is also very important, what's going on with artificial intelligence, we got to be worried about large-scale surveillance, okay? Everything. You asked about Palantir. Do you know that every time you make a credit card transaction, the credit card companies are collecting data on how you spend your money? Do you know that every time you linger over a link on the internet for more than a half second, the search engines are collecting data on you so that they can sell you advertisements? One of the biggest questions for American policy over the next 10 years is how to ensure that you are a sovereign citizen. And you cannot be a sovereign citizen if any private corporation or any government can steal something from you that belongs to you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, does that sound like a guy who is a technocrat trying to usher in a world where all the tech companies get our data and can control everything? No, not at all. I mean, it's unbelievable. He is so good at this. And, if he's a tech guy and how he just warned everybody to not give away your data and how we need to be on top of this, the tech company, if I was Palantir, I'd be pissed if this was my guy. So just saying, that was phenomenal. Again, he couldn't have answered it better. So guys, this is going to be our next president. I'm just going to tell you right now. He's going to be our next president. I feel that so strongly. When the election's going in 2028, I'm sure there's going to be moments where it looks close. I will have moments where I doubt my prediction, but I'm just telling you right now, the Democrats have nobody. Their best bet is Gavin Newsom. He sucks. He's got so much dirt in his past, and he would get destroyed by J.D. Vance head to head. And the only way he does not become president in 28, it's going to have nothing to do with what the Democrats do. They are so pathetic right now. The only way is if Trump fails and the economy sucks. If we go into 2028 and he hasn't been able to pull off the economic miracle, I believe he's going to, or at least it's not trending in the right direction, JD will lose. That'll be it. And we're going to be screwed. But I don't think that's going to happen. I see what Trump's doing, and JD he is a talent that is just, it's special, and it's going to be amazing. Christina says, Enemy's been successful right from the beginning, setting up social media, take down rabbit holes. Yeah, social media was set up for a lot of terrible things. But here's what's interesting, Christina. Think about it this way. Social media was set up to do evil, collect our data, make money off of us, and steal our secrets, all that stuff. Control a narrative, force feed our minds, weird beliefs, all that stuff. And it was successful to some degree. Social media is also the reason we're set free, and there's a great awakening right now. Trump started it. Don't get me wrong. Enough people are still waking up because of Trump and our stuff. But without social media and the internet, so much of this wouldn't have been moved around. If Elon Musk hadn't taken over X, we wouldn't have the major victories we've had since he took over in so many areas. He opening up X really fixed and allowed us to fight back on a lot of what the Biden administration was doing, and also helped Trump get elected. So whatever the enemy plans for evil, the Lord can use for good. Just never, ever forget that. And that's why I never look at something as inherent, as completely evil, unless it's, tools. There are some things that are just evil no matter what, and there will always be, sins, abortion, porn. There's like some things you can, but tools, no matter what they're created for, they're still just tools. Money is always just a tool. Social media is always just a tool. The internet is always just a tool. AI is always just a tool. So those things cannot be inherently evil. And when a tool is created by the enemy, the Lord will ultimately find how to use it for good. And that's how it goes. But thank you for the comment. Rum Dog, what's up, man? Toe says 100%. I call JD. I know. I love being on JD. Alan says Kim prophesies Rubio. Well, and that's fine. That might happen. I think Rubio could be a president after JD. I don't see any way, and I mean any way, Rubio's president in 28. I just don't see it. Unless something happens to JD Vance or he steps down. And in that case, I could see Rubio coming up, because Rubio is going to be the number 2, but he's a distant number 2 right now. I mean, JD's miles ahead of him in so many ways. And Marco is still not 100% trusted by MAGA. He's mostly trusted by MAGA, but not 100%, because he was a neocon. And because he was a little too far on the Israel train for this current group of people. So if there's a Spanish-speaking president, it could be Rubio, but it won't be before Vance, in my opinion. I just don't see it happening. I don't think Rubio can get through a primary. I really don't. Yeah, Troy Black. I like Troy. He's accurate a lot, but there's no way DeSantis is going to be president. DeSantis made the biggest political mistake by going up against Trump and taking him on, and Trump defeated him, and MAGA will not forget that. So even though DeSantis is doing great things as a governor, and even though he really, really wants to be president, he is going to have to do something incredible to prove he is MAGA at this point, because MAGA runs the Republican Party. I don't think he can do it in time for 28. I just don't. I think it's going to take him time. And so DeSantis maybe in 20 years, maybe 15 years, 10 years. But there's just by 28, 3 years, I don't think he can undo the damage he did. I just don't. Yeah, Troy's called lots of things. Listen, I think Troy is a real dude. I think I think he's legitimate. I think he definitely gets prophetic words. I also think he prophesies too much. I think sometimes what he shares as prophetic words are prophetic unctions instead, like gut feelings versus actual prophetic words. Because I'll tell you, I've known real prophets. I've known people who teach prophecy. They've done it for so long. Like, we're talking about people who like never miss. And they don't get prophetic words every single day like Troy does. So I think but I don't think that means he's bad. I think he's just immature. I think he's immature. But I do like him. I have not met Erica Kirk. I don't know where that came from. No, Trump used to call him Little Marco. And Alan, I agree with you. Marco is the best Secretary of State, maybe ever. He's incredible. He is incredible. And I like Marco. I was going to vote for Marco in 2016 before God told me not to. God told me to vote for Trump. So, but that's how that worked out. And I've always liked Rubio. I've always had a soft place in my heart for him. And I've always believed he would come back around, and he is. And so I'm really glad. If you guys remember last year when Trump was picking up for Secretary of State, There's a lot of you who were skeptical. And I said, listen, I think Rubio is all MAGA now. And I gave you guys why. And look where we're at. So I like Marco. I think and even when he was a neocon, I don't think he was doing it because he was involved in like the evil side of being a neocon. I don't think he was a globalist. I think Marco was a neocon because he bought the BS from the Republican side of things, the Bush wing, because he came from Cuba. So he hates communism. He wants to, he wants to take all these people out, the bad guys out. And so I think he bought the lie, just like I did once upon a time. I bought the neocon lie once upon a time that you had to always be on offense in order to win these things. And that meant constantly be at war. I bought that. I bought that when Bush told me because I was so fired up over 9/11 as a kid, as an 18-year-old. And I think Rubio went through the same thing because he came from Cuba, hates communism. And so I just do not think that I do not think that Marco was a neocon for the wrong reasons. I think he was a neocon just because he was naive. And I've always thought Marco Rubio was actually a real good dude. Am I affiliated with Turning Point? No, I'm not, but thank you for asking. That's a compliment. No, I'm not affiliated with Turning Point. I love them. I believe in them, but I don't go to college campuses. I'm just a guy doing a show in my office at home who just knows politics. So, but thanks for asking, Ariana. Ariana, I love that name. Toe Cramp says half of Trump's current warriors used to be anti-Trump. Now they're fighters for MAGA. That's right. And, again, it's just naivety. Many of them came into the Republican Party buying the nonsense, not knowing how bad it really was, thinking they were on the right side of history, wondering why Trump was trying to ruin their party. And then they woke up and said, oh, crap. And that's why the Republican Party was the one that could be saved. Because, yeah, it had a lot of bad actors running it and spreading stuff in it, but it also was, there was a lot of good people in the Republican Party, as Trump has proven, whereas the Democrats were just basically completely lost, or 98% lost, and couldn't be saved. I don't mean the Democrats' people. I mean the leadership and people at the top. So, all right, let me do a few bullet points here before we get out of here, because I'm running long tonight, but few bullet points, good, interesting stuff I saw. Real quick, Kryptonian has something on this. He says Rubio coming out against Vance would symbolize a split or divide in the party, and I think they want to prevent that at all costs. 100%. Thank you, Kryptonian. That is a great point. This is the what's the word I'm looking for? This cabinet that Trump put together, they are like this. Most presidential candidates have cabinets have a bunch of people who hate each other. They all want to be president someday. They all want to be in charge. They all want to be the best. And they're all out for themselves. And the president just puts them there for, to get the jobs done, but also just to keep the party happy. Cause you always got to have like a bench for the future. But Trump didn't do that. Trump just said, I want the absolute best people in the best positions, and they have to be loyal. And so he picked all MAGA people who will all work together. And I'm not saying they won't have disagreements here and there, but they're smart enough to keep it indoors. And so they're working together. They like each other, and they are unified. And Rubio is a true believer, and so is Vance, obviously. And the true believers are not going to screw it up by petty bickering. I think Rubio, he wants to be president. I think he'd be perfectly content to be VP for Vance and then have a shot at the presidency later. So, but I agree with you. Lochtefeld says, Rubio, best Secretary of State. I guess I'd take Thomas Jefferson, Seward, or George Marshall myself. Well, okay. If you want to do that, if you want to go back to the early 1800s, yes, I would say Thomas Jefferson likely was probably the best Secretary of State. But as far as William Seward or George Marshall, I don't know, man. I don't know. Sometimes people just get credit just because they were back then. Doesn't mean they were great. There's a reason they're not super well known in history. They're only for like the deep divers like us. Anyways, let's go through this. Okay, this is incredible. Younger generation now outpacing parents in church attendance. So listen to this, guys. Gen Z and millennials are leading the revival of faith in America. Who knew? This gives me so much hope for the future. It's the kids are coming home. They're coming home to Jesus. And this is going to be very, very good for our future, guys. So that's exciting. Real quick, the Senate did something good today. Undid the blocks to fossil fuel development in the National Petroleum Reserve in Alaska on millions of acres. So that's going to bring a lot more oil into our country in the next couple of years. Excellent. Here, this is a crazy story, and I don't know enough about it yet to go deep diving on it, but I want to bring it up. Top Trump officials are moving to military bases due to safety threats. Stephen Miller, Kristi Noem, Marco Rubio, and Hegseth have relocated to secure on-base housing at Washington-era military sites like Fort McNair and Joint Base. Dude, you don't think we're at war? Literally, our cabinet secretaries are moving to bases, military bases, to be protected. This tells me that, guys, things are ramping up. This, military operations are unfolding. Trump, via the Pentagon, ordered the National Guard to create quick reaction forces in every state and territory by January. So these people are going to be living on bases for a while. They're deemed the most vulnerable. I bet Tom Homan's in there too. But this is a crazy story. Absolutely crazy. We've never seen this before, except for maybe the Civil War. So I don't think we're going to see mass violence. I really don't. I think they have a plan and it's going to work. But I do. This is the kind of stuff where most people won't know this or pay attention or ever hear this. But it tells those of us paying attention that something much bigger is going on behind the scenes than the world wants us to know, than regular politics this time. This is not administration doing business as normal. They are getting stuff done, and there are people who want them dead as a result. So just absolutely wild story. Tokram says, reminds me of Q Post saying POTUS will be safe on Air Force One during fallout. Yes. I mean, yeah, very similar. Absolutely. Okay, next thing. This is great news. Trump administration set a new rule only allowing up to 7,500 refugee admissions annually. Lowest cap on record. Obama, 70,000. Bush, 80,000. Biden, 125,000. It's less than 10,000 guys they're going to allow in as refugees. So they are so serious about getting the immigrant population down our country, which is wonderful. We need it. We need these, people are like, oh, we've always been a nation of immigrants. Really? From 1920 to 1960, we barely let any immigrants in. And what did that unleash? It unleashed the boom of the 50s. And then when we did start letting them back in around the 60s, they were integrated. We actually had an American culture. Trump's basically doing that all over again. Interesting timing, too, because the 20s were the roaring 20s, which fed into the Depression. I would say we're closer to that Depression era right now, or at least coming out of it. It's been a weird Depression because of tech has made us feel a lot more comfortable than they did in the 30s. But anyways, crazy stuff going on. But this is how one of the ways America rebuilt itself just less than 100 years ago. So incredible stuff. And then finally, I'm bringing back JD, because this last couple minutes he did, I think, is a very important message to all of us. And so I'm going to play it. I'm going to give my comments at the end, and then we're going to call it a night. But I really want you guys to hear how JD Vance closed it out last night.
I know not all of you are Christians, but for the Christians out there, I think that it is very important to remember that despair is actually a sin. It's okay to disagree. It's okay to criticize. It's okay to think that things aren't going well with a particular issue, but we are called to never give up hope. But I think one of the critical lessons of Charlie Kirk's life to his dying breath, this was a man who never lost hope in his creator and never lost hope in the United States of America. So let's remember that and carry that forward as a way to remember. And the second thing that I want to say is, in line with despair being a sin, look, I imagine that I can tell most of you apparently agree with a lot of what I said. I'm sure that a lot of you disagree with some of the things that I've said. That's okay. We don't need in our political movement people who agree with us on every single issue. We got a couple of questions about Israel. We got a couple of questions about the National Guard deployments. We don't need somebody who agrees with us on every single question or every single issue. What we need is people of good faith who love the United States of America and are willing to work hard to save it. So when you look at all the accomplishments, you look at the accomplishments of the last 9 months. We inherited the worst border crisis in the history of the United States of America. We shut down the border, and net immigration is 2.5 million lower today than it was in 9 months. That means the total number of people that have been sent out of this country is 2.5 million. We have 2.5 million fewer illegal immigrants than we had. That's a great accomplishment. We inherited a terrible affordability crisis from Joe Biden, and I'm not going to tell you everything's perfect because it was a real bad situation that we inherited, but inflation is consistently below economists' expectations, and we are chipping away at it every single day. We inherited an economy where we had the largest trade deficit in the history of the United States of America. In 9 months, Donald Trump's tariff policies have cut the American trade deficit by over half. That means we're making more of our own stuff, and we're actually employing American workers to do it. And all that is to say that very often, Charlie Kirk would call me and he would say, not attaboy, but he would say, do more, do more, do more. And I listened to Charlie because he was a dear friend and because I knew that he loved this country. My point is, the best way in your life to honor Charlie Kirk's legacy, it's not to despair, but to hope in the future of this country. If you disagree with something, then get involved in the movement to save this country. If you think that we could be doing more, then pick up the phone and get involved in the effort to change our minds and change the future of the United States of America in the process. My friends, the rebels of Ole Miss, despair is a sin. Do not give in to despair. Let's keep fighting to save the United States of America. Thank you, and God bless you.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to run through a wall. Just, oh my God, unbelievable. That, my friends, is a moment. Despair is a sin. What do I always tell you guys? No blackpilling. Blackpilling is despair. No blackpilling. I don't listen to people who blackpill. Anybody who's blackpilled doesn't get to listen. They don't get my trust. Candace Owens doesn't get my trust because she's blackpilling all the time. Ian Carroll doesn't get my trust. Whitney Webb doesn't get my trust. You cannot get my trust if you're blackpilling because just like JD said, and I love that he said it, despair is a sin. Not having hope, it's a sin. You have to have hope. You have to move forward. Honor Charlie by having hope. Look what hope got us. Unbelievable. That, my friends, JD Vance is our next president. I cannot wait. Actually, I can because I love Trump. Trump's my guy. But I feel like JD, I mean, this guy's like 6 months younger than I am. I just like, I want to serve him. I want to be like, dude, I will follow you anywhere. This guy gets it. And this is our future. JD's our future. America is on the right track. We are going to win. We are going to break the evil that was done in our country. We are going to turn it around. Trump is doing that right now. JD Vance is his right-hand man. We got 8 years of JD coming up next. I truly believe that. We are on the right track. It is incredible where we're going, guys. We live in an incredible time. This is not a time to despair. It's not a time to blackpill. It is a time to be excited and to fight and to work and to get it done. No more sitting on the sidelines complaining. No more crying and moaning and saying, why? This isn't fair. This is not going to work out. What do I do? I'm just going to do it myself. I'm just going to disappear. That's so crappy. Get involved. I don't care how old you are. Just find something to do. We all do this together. We win, and we win big. America is coming back. Our country is coming back. Our best times are ahead. I believe that 100%. Anybody who tells you otherwise, I can't listen to them. I can't. I grew up my entire life in a church, and I'm a Christian. I love Jesus. Spent, the last 25 years studying the Bible, was a minister. But I was taught there's basically no hope for the future. Just the hope is Jesus, but things are going to be horrible until he comes back. I was taught that. It's a lie. It's not true. That's not biblically accurate. Our best times are yet ahead, folks. It doesn't mean it's going to be perfect. Doesn't mean there won't be hard times for sure. But the best is yet ahead. All the years we've gone through, the struggles, the hard times, the inability to get ahead, the inability to grow wealth, the inability to have a better life than our parents or give a better life to our kids, and especially in the last 20, 25 years when things got so much worse economically. All that, my friends, is changing. I'm so excited for where we're going. I really am. And that, that's what a good leader will give you is that hope. And that's what we have right now. We have not just good leaders, we have generational leaders who are going to be history books going to be written about them. So, amen. All right. Love you guys. Johnny loves it. CA Human loved it. Toes says Trump, greater JD equals perfect plan. Amen. Must finish the race. That's right. Yep. Heidi says, where there's breath, there's hope. Amen to that. I love that. Christina Abbott. Amen. I love it. Such good stuff, guys. Well, hey, I love you guys. I will be taking the next couple days off, most likely, unless, oops, wrong button. Unless something big comes up, I'll be off the next couple days and I'll see you Sunday. But guys, good stuff's coming. Love you guys. Appreciate you. Thank you for supporting the channel. Please like, please subscribe if you like what you saw. Please follow if you're on X. If you want more, if you want to go watch my members live about Halloween last night, you can join for free. Get in the description, click that link to Patreon. You get a free month. And if you don't like it, you can get out. No big deal. It won't hurt my feelings. On X, it's on my pinned profile post if you want to join. So I invite you guys in, join, get in the members' lives where we deep dive stuff, and then get in the Discord, especially as we're tracking the market right now, which could get crazy. But love you guys. Have a great night. God bless you all. And let's finish in a prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Thank you for the amazing leaders you've given us. Lord, we didn't deserve them. We did not deserve them, but you had mercy on us and you heard our prayers for our country and you gave us great leaders. And so, Lord, we are just so grateful. And so I pray for those leaders, pray for Trump, pray for Vance and everybody around him for wisdom and protection in Jesus' name, especially protect those who had to move to military bases, God, because of threats on their lives. Protect them, Lord. And I just pray, God, that we win this war. And we win it convincingly. Bring justice back to the United States. Bring prosperity back to the United States, Lord, and peace. And Lord, just bless us. Bless this country. Get us on the right track. And bless everybody here. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. Love you guys. Have a great night. And I'll see you soon. Take care.